we're here today to honor our fathers. And Brooke, will you first just tell me a little bit about your dad?
Sure. My dad is actually a business owner as well. He's an entrepreneur, and he has been working for himself as long as I've been alive. And so he has that entrepreneurial spirit. He teaches seminars internationally on personalities and how they work together, and then sort of the psychology of goal setting and moving towards your goals and dreams. So it's very applicable to another entrepreneur.
Yeah, absolutely. How did your dad specifically inspire you?
So many ways, but it actually comes back to really when I was starting to act myself before even ever being a business owner or having that idea. I grew up singing and dancing and acting. I started acting in college, and there's a lot of pressure and criticism of oneself. You know, when you're a performer, you're trying to get it perfect, or you get disappointed. And he was always such an inspiration with the way that he would pep talk me and the guidance that he would give me, and I've found that I'm teaching so much of that to my students now. So that's really special to me. You know, things like little slogans like, you'll be better at something the 10th time than the first time, or don't focus on the results, focus on doing the things you need to do, and the results will automatically come. Because as a performer, you go into an audition and you psych yourself out with, I want this job so badly, and you focus on getting the job instead of all of the steps you need to take and focus on in the meantime to get the job. So
yes,
yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you just so much, Dad, for encouraging me, supporting me at all costs to pursue my dreams, providing a phenomenal education at USD with a theater major when so many of my classmates were shunned by their families for becoming theater majors. You were so supportive and encouraging, and now look where I am. It's crazy. I feel like I am absolutely 100% living my dreams beyond how I could have ever imagined, and I have so much of that to attribute to you, and I love you. Happy Father's Day! Thank you.
I think my dad always just taught me the importance of doing what I wanted to do and not feeling the need to apologize for it. If I wanted to not play sports, that was fine. If I wanted to do leadership, that was fine. Just doing what I wanted to do and not having to explain why I wanted to do it, just because that's what I wanted to do, and I didn't have to worry about if people were okay with it or if my friends were doing the same thing. Just whatever it was that I wanted to do was fine.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great advice.
Yeah.
What is one or two of the qualities that your dad embodies that you really admire?
He is an incredibly loyal individual, and you never have to question if he'll be there to support you or be there to support his family, or he always steps up when somebody needs something. He's very giving and loyal are two of the things that I really hope to embody. If I were to ask him directly, he would say I took on all of his sarcasm and stubbornness. And so when I was younger, we would disagree on things because we have such similar personalities. We're the same person. So I hope that I've also embodied his giving nature and his loyalty, and not just the sarcasm.
And if there's one thing you wanted to say to your father on Father's Day,
Without crying.
Without crying, I know, believe me.
Yeah, it would just be thank you for all the continued support and for always being my biggest cheerleader, of course along with my mom, but they've always just been the first ones to say how proud they were of me for everything, and it's been the best support system I could have ever hoped for. So thank you very much.
Hi, I am here with Tara Trader. Tara, tell me a little bit about your awesome father.
You were right in saying that he is awesome. My dad has been part of our family business, which was started in 1961. It's a motorsports business in Quincy, Illinois. And my dad came back from college and started right in at the business. And actually my grandfather started the business. So we have many generations of strong men. And more importantly, they help encourage strong women. So as I was growing up, my dad always tried to instill in us the idea that we can do anything. And I would sum up my dad in probably 3 words and his career and the way that he encourages me as a professional is pride, passion, and perseverance. And I would say pride in that my dad always respects everyone that he's around, and he encourages us to take pride in the things that we do and to never do anything, I won't say what he normally says, but I would say halfway.
Okay, got it. I can imagine what he normally says. That's okay. I love it. That's awesome. That's great.
And in perseverance, my dad has been through the highs and lows of business, from taking it to the very bottom and hanging on with his fingernails to the edge, and I am incredibly proud of him.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that he taught you growing up that you use in your life and as you finish your PhD and head off into your career?
Yeah, I mean, he always encouraged me to be able to do anything I want. I'm from a small town in the Midwest, and my dad always encouraged me to know that the world is whatever I want to make it, and I can do anything I want. And he said that to me from the moment I was a little girl. And you know, being a young woman in a small town can result in not having those big white dreams, but my dad and my mom as well, but we're focusing on dads today, they both encouraged me to be able to do anything I want. My dad used to always say every night before I went to bed, and maybe this, I don't know, but he used to say, "You're number one," every night before I went to bed. And so no matter what happened, win or lose, my dad always told us to get up, shake it off, you're number one.
That is so cool.
What I would want to say to my dad is thank you for persevering for us as a family, and thank you for showing me that no matter what, if you don't give up, you can accomplish what you want. And I love you, Dad. Thank you so much.
Awesome. At the end of high school was you can go to college or you can take the money and start a business. And it's interesting because my grandfather, my father's father, was not an entrepreneur until later in life.
Oh, okay.
He worked in banking and did some other stuff. He became an entrepreneur later in life, started a couple businesses, but the one I remember growing up was a floor covering business in Fresno, California. And that's the business my dad ended up starting as well, of course. So for me, I mean, I don't want to say we come from a long line of entrepreneurs because that would be a bit of a stretch, but it was 100% like, go do it. Not focused on school. He didn't graduate from college, and that's fine. I mean,
Yeah.
I love when he says, he's like, I was bored. You know, I was
Exactly.
bored. And we've heard that from
A lot of people.
Yes, exactly. and yeah, so he definitely, I mean, he didn't push me to be an entrepreneur, but it was like, absolutely.
What was his initial reaction to Hera Hub, the idea of Hera Hub?
Yeah, my dad is awesomely cautious. He's amazing, you know, pays cash for everything, you know, scenario. And so stepping into something that was going to be a bit of an investment was, you know, I felt like, and I did come forth with a business plan and my projections and, you know, and it was like, okay, great, that's great, you can do it, you know, but have you thought it through, you know, kind of thing. And we still have dialogues, you know, how's it going, you know, and so.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So he understands the whole concept, and
I think so. He sold me a lot of carpets, so that's good.
it all fits together.
It all exactly. I know. Yeah. No. I think he does, and I think he's proud. And yeah, he's given me some great advice along the way, and similar to you, just very. Instilled very much in me the confidence piece. I cannot say enough, and I know we've had some conversations about this too, how important that is. And if you're watching and you're a dad, tell your kid that they're awesome every day, but not for make them work for it. Exactly. I will say that's one of the best things. And you know, as a kid, you're like, oh my gosh, I worked for every penny. I always tell the story. My first job was, and this is all my tree hugging friends are gonna hate me, was stepping on snails, and I got paid 5 cents a snail. But yeah, I had to work for every penny that I earned and never was entitled to have anything and told I was great, but had a lot of boundaries.
My brother and I got allowances, but we got $3 a week, and one was to save and 2 were to spend, and they were directly tied to the dishwasher being emptied and the vacuum, everything done. So, and $3 felt so insignificant, but also like I'm saving money and I'm earning money, and so that definitely, we knew exactly the value of doing work and getting paid for it, and not just there's no superfluous spending, or it was a good lesson.
In retrospect.
Yes, at the time I was like, I just want $30 though.
I know. I love what you said the other day when you're like, you go home and you still are like on the dishwasher and it's like ingrained in you.
All those little things, like the pantry door is shut, the towels are folded.
Oh yeah, the lights are off in the house. You don't leave a room without turning the lights off. Very good advice.
Long lasting.
So, yes, indeed. Well, Dad, I just want to thank you for being amazing, the best father in the world that any girl could have, and I really, again, do value all the things that we've talked about, but in addition to setting boundaries and setting challenges for me, so to speak, throughout my life. So the self-esteem that I have was earned rather than given, in regards to, there were some challenging times growing up, and that taught me so much. So I want to say thank you, and I love you.
Happy Father's Day.
So Skylar, why is your father inspiring to you?
Oh, okay, I may be biased, but I believe that I have the world's most amazing father.
Okay.
He's inspiring to me because of his utter humility. Like he's so successful and is so accomplished, but when he treats people or he meets people, it's just with such gratitude and with respect, and he's so jolly and loving, and so like I couldn't have had a better example of a man than my father.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. What's your favorite quality about your father?
My favorite quality about my dad, which would actually be surprising. I think most people would say his sense of humor, but I would have to say his openness. So my parents are devoutly spiritual, devoutly religious, and I remember being 12 years old saying, I don't agree with this. This is what I don't agree with. And he just would sit and talk with me and let me express my opinion, and I always felt that I could say anything without judgment or without fear of being reprimanded, which that might have been a side effect if I had to say the truth about something that I did, but I just always felt like he had such a safe space for me to really be who I was, and he's so encouraging and so loving, and I'm so lucky that I get to call him my dad.
Love it.
That God doesn't place desires in your heart to tease you or to punish you. They're there because they can come to fruition. And so I felt like, and at that moment I said, I just want these things so bad. This is what my dream is. And it's like, it's not there to torture you. It's there because it can be a reality. So I think that would have to be like the biggest nugget of wisdom that he's given me.
It's great. I love it. Yeah. And what would you like to say to your father on Father's Day?
I would like to thank my father for working so hard, always being a pillar of grace and kindness, and for having the courage to be a man of integrity, especially in an industry and a profession working with people who sometimes are dishonest or sometimes greedy, or value things that really aren't important in life. And he always had the courage to be who he was, or who he is. And I think that if I could say anything, it would just be that I am so profoundly proud to have you as my father, to have you as my best friend, and I love you more than words can express.
We did it without
crying! I'm like, it's on the verge, I'm on the verge.
I love it.
So happy Father's Day, Daddy, and happy birthday.
Happy
His
Father's
birthday's
Day.
the day before.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, happy Father's Day to all the amazing fathers, and we just want to thank you for shaping us and inspiring us and being amazing men in our lives.